Millennial Book Club. Millennial Book Club.
Hello. Thank you for joining the
Metal Beast Collective.
Ooh.
I was just in a Guitar Center. I think that's one of the guitars.
We were
Metal Beast
were
Collection is what
just in a Guitar Center. And shout out not to the Guitar Center for their customer service is total dog shit.
I mean, honestly, there was like five humans in the store, including us. Mm-hmm. The dude obviously is talking to the guy that's going to buy an expensive guitar and his really cute girlfriend/daughter. There was definitely an age gap.
Was it a girlfriend? Was it a daughter?
Were you paying attention to that all? Because there was a part of like the affectation where I was like, oh, that's definitely his daughter. Then I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, because there was actually two women.
There was two women. That one was like, she's the old one, so like whatever. She's just. But the younger one, you're like, that's his daughter. Then you're like, no, I think she's like
a girlfriend.
I don't want that near our bed. And I was like, whoa.
And her shorts were she had a lot of ass hanging out.
There was a lot of ass hanging out.
Well, it took us a long time, and then finally the
appropriate amount of ass hanging out. Like we said earlier, we don't want to go on some movement of
the other direction.
Bringing the shorts back down.
Yeah, keep them high. And then finally, we actually had a piece of equipment as we went to start to record the Millennial Book Club, which is the Millennial Book Club, where we just review Netflix originals. And this week, the homework was Old Dads.
Old Dads.
And when we went to go set up a piece of our equipment that we've used for many years and just shit the bed all at once.
I believe it was the Schneider I-62.
Yeah, bridal scopulator.
The scopulator,
yeah.
It was fine. It was the flex capacitor shit the bed.
But this week we are reviewing Old Dads, directed by Bill Burr, with Bill Burr, Bobby Cannavale, Bakeem Woodbine, Katie Asselton. Three best friends become fathers later in life and find blah, blah, blah. Actually, we're going to try something new with the Millennial Book Club, and we're going to go ahead and fire up. We're all going to watch together the trailer before getting into the actual our review.
Trailer?
We're going to watch.
I just met her.
Trailer? I hardly knew her. All right, so this is the trailer for Old
I always
Dads.
Wanted to be a dad. It just took 46 years for it to happen. Just rub some dirt on him.
You might want to put a little Neosporin on her. That thing could get infected.
Oh, yeah? You a doctor?
Do you know who that guy is?
One of those WebMD guys.
This is common knowledge. You want to keep the cut clean.
Well, listen, I'm trying to raise a little man here, not a fucking pussy.
Rick
so why don't
something.
you just go on Twitter and go share this story where you're the hero?
Exactly. Yeah, I know. First of all, that's Rick. I can't remember his fucking name, but he's got a bunch of podcasts. He's in that whole world, all things, because this is an all things comedy like production, which is Bill Burr's group. And that guy actually had a beef with Will Sasso because Will Sasso was on his show and he wanted him to do an impression of Jesse. Why don't you tell me, Jesse the Body Ventura?
Wait, this guy Rick wanted
Will, and Will was like not really playing along. And so he created.
That's ridiculous because he constantly does that.
He won't shut up.
His wife is like, "Will you fucking take this seriously?"
He's like, "Why don't you tell me?" An Arby's sandwich, but he. Yeah, so I don't want to, that's the beauty of what we're doing here. We can stop and pause and keep watching, and we're all watching along. So let's continue our.
People? You happen to check that new joint from Lil Baby? Come on, pound it out.
It's okay, thanks.
What? He's fleek.
Oh.
Flickety fleek. All right, you two lock it down. We gotta impress this dude. Change.
Sorry, just pausing it. That guy does look a little much like an old, Dave Chappelle's dad, right?
He's definitely got the deepness in his voice.
He does. It's like the shape of his face. It's not just because he's a bald black dude, but it's like there's a whole thing there that he just. And I don't want to. I don't know. Maybe it's a bad look trying to compare the guys. But I always felt like he kind of looks like him.
Yeah.
It happens faster than when you were young. This company is now a gender-neutral, carbon-neutral, 21st century lifestyle brand.
I don't know what any of that means.
You need to talk to someone about your anger.
You were late.
Couldn't find a spot.
We don't accept excuses.
Is there like a problem here, miss?
Well, if you'd actually read the school guidebook, I wouldn't have to tell you anything.
I read the guidebook. All right, you stumpy little...
Wow. You feel your generation is more evolved.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not going.
Hit the thing! Come on, let's go. You know I got a flip phone. Kidding me?
Oh, I got it.
Maybe I'm not cut out for this, but I'd do anything for my kid.
You have no idea how awesome I was at your age. Julio Iglesias came up to me in an airport, dead certain I was his son Enrique. The kind of vibe I was putting out, bro.
That's ridiculous.
I was ridiculous.
Old
Is there a reason
dad.
we always have two white men dominating the discussion in this room?
That's not a white guy.
I'm confused.
October 20th. So that was the trailer for Old Dads, which we all should have watched, but it's just a little refresher. And we are rating it. And, so over the, since our last recording, went back and watched it, and Christy watched it as well. And, our rating system is
Must watch.
Must watch. Watch it if it's there, and then go ride a bike. Christy's like, actually, it's spare yourself.
Spare yourself.
It was spare yourself.
Okay, I like that better because
know, but
you
I-
don't get the time back.
You won't get the time back, but I think that's what it actually was when we were originally doing this. So this, I don't know if people probably don't even notice because we're just getting this whole thing started. But this is the Millennial Book Club, as presented. Sorry, my whole brain just fried. This is the Millennial Book Club
I see.
as presented by Road Soda Studios. We are now the YouTube channel is now officially Road Soda Studios. Road Soda used to be a podcast that the two of us used to do, and we used to have all the different segments. We've broken up all the segments. We're putting it together on, and some new segments. All YouTube, baby. But either way, she was like, "No, it used to be, watch it if it's there. Must watch it if it's there, and spare yourself."
I don't remember that, but I
thought
like
it-
spare
yeah.
yourself better because
the-
a lot of times it's like you're not going to get the time back.
You ain't getting
so
that time
don't
back.
waste it.
So go ride a bike and spare yourself.
Yeah.
It's all kind of the same.
Let's go ride a bike is a little presumptuous. Like we're going to tell you what to do instead. You know.
And in some cases, honestly, it would be better just to be off riding a fucking bike, right?
If you're into that sort of thing, if you're the type of guy that's going to like fucking ride a bike cross country with some fucking chick and the whole thing turns around. I mean, yeah, then you're like a ride a bike guy. Not a lot of those fucking
What are you
guys.
trying to say, Greg? First of all, this whole movie is so Bill Burr.
Yeah.
Like the line he had, well, I want you on Twitter where you're always fucking right. That's like he's used an iteration of that line, like I'mRight.com. It's like that. He's infatuated with this idea that you can get online and just get positive feedback for whatever you want to justify. And like that's like this whole thing. He's like, if I'm want to find somewhere online that says it's okay to completely, like abandon your kids and be an asshole, then I could find that and be supported.
Well, you can at least go online and post something and say you're a fucking great person. You're going to get the same comments
so
everyone
that-
gets.
yeah.
You're a piece of shit. Fuck you. Kill yourself. No matter what you put. But you could
No
put
matter
something
what you
out
put.
there saying whatever the hell you want. So
Right.
We were gonna try and keep this family oriented too.
There was a talks of us. I mean, we can try it. We don't have to do it. Maybe let's on next week's episode. We're gonna try not to.
family friendly.
We'll
How's
not
that?
curse.
We'll not curse. It's hard, man, because like it's not such a big deal. I don't think to curse, and
I don't think it is either.
Yeah, and we're
I
just
don't think it is either.
You know,
dude, let's just be ourselves. Who the fuck are we kidding?
Yeah, I mean, I'm as a person, I'm trying not to curse so much. I have these little outbursts.
Are you really?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it kind of seems a little less educated if I'm because you know me, I'm like over the top with f-bombs. It's
You know
just
how
too
many
much.
studies or how many things you see all the time where it's like people that curse have like higher IQs and stuff?
But the perception though is that if you're constantly swearing, then you're just a brutish whatever. You know what I mean? I don't believe that that's true. I think all walks of life use it.
Of course.
But I don't know. And I've also heard a lot of people say that it's like a crutch. You're trying to be funny and you can't. Throw an F-bomb in. Everyone loves an F-bomb. And it's kind
Or
of
a hard C word.
Hard C word. It gets attention.
It
always.
does. Just like in that movie. How'd you feel about it?
So, I'm a huge Bill Burr fan. If I was going to do the current Mount Rushmore of comedy, I don't care about someone from 1946 or fucking Yeah, I mean, I do, but I'm saying like right now, who are the guys in Mount Rushmore? Mount Rushmore, Burr's there.
Yeah, he
probably
for sure.
Louis. Mm-hmm. And then
isn't it weird that there's 2 redheads, but like the percentage of redheaded people in the world is so low, but there's 2 on the Mount Rushmore of comedy?
It is kind of weird, but also I think sometimes people find these little connections. They go, "Isn't that weird?" And you're like, "Well, this is just the random list that came up." And you're looking at it saying, "But you're right. There's not a lot of redheads." They're both kind of bald too, so it's kind of hard to say they're redheads, unless you know something more about it. You're talking about the curtains don't match the drapes, or is this is the drapes, right?
I don't know. What is the drapes? What is
the
carpet?
carpet match the drapes.
So I think curtains and drapes is the same thing.
Yeah.
No, the curtains do not match.
So I don't know anything about Bill Burr's carpet. It sounds like you've got inside info, but yeah, they're both redheads. Maybe Dave Chappelle would be on that.
Of course.
I don't want to get us too sidetracked, but yeah, I'm just trying to say I'm a huge Bill Burr guy. Love his stand-up. Pretty much everything I like he does. And this was funny for me. That's how I'm going to start with this. This was funny, but it was so contrived, and it was so like, I like where he's going with it, right? Mm-hmm. But it doesn't appeal to me directly because, yeah, I'm a little bit younger than him. I have a similar problem with a lot of the shit, but he's like this rich asshole now, right? Because he's a millionaire comic, and he's like, oh my God, you're going to the cashmere store, and the fucking kid's looking at us, and it's like, dude, I don't, you know what I mean? I'm not in LA. The shit that they came up with to do it is like totally unrelatable to 99% of us. Not his fault. He's trying to write his life. His life is, I'm 50, trying to have kids with a 25-year-old super hot blonde, and all these, which is not true, by the way. I believe his wife is like his age, and she's black.
Yes.
And they don't have any kids.
I think they do have a daughter.
They do?
I think they do.
Okay. So, I mean, this is obviously like autobiographical, like he's doing.
I mean, this is like every one of his, this is his. This is, yeah, you're right, very contrived. I mean, this is his like life. Like that's why I said this whole movie is just from the second it started, it's very Bill Burr. I mean, do you remember that show? I think we actually did a Millennial book club for his cartoon show. You remember that?
F is for Family.
F is for Family. I think we did. I don't remember.
I think we did. That was very funny too.
It is very funny, and it's very similar. I mean, it's so Bill Burr. It's so inside his mind,
and that's his childhood. So he didn't. I think because that's exactly what I was going to say. That's his childhood, so he can be funnier. I think what was happening here is that I felt unrelated to the situations and the way they did stuff, but I feel like he was like, I can't do my life. No one is going to be able to relate to a millionaire comedian's life. Mm-hmm. So what are these people out there doing? So and the best he can come up with is, $1 million for this private school, and then it's like, okay, you've opened up.
Well, it is also very California. I don't know if he made it like, they just made it California, and that whole private school or like getting your kids into a good school, and like they did own a company, so it's like they weren't like broke. I mean, that was something where they started a company together. That was another interesting angle. Like I remember I paused the movie and to talk to Christy about that. I'm like, could you imagine starting a company and then hiring a CEO at some point because you feel your limitations in business knowledge is keeping the company from growing to something larger, so you hire a CEO and then like a couple months later you're like fired and out of the company because of some. I was like, could you fucking imagine?
I was like, I think that shit does actually happen.
It does. It does happen. It does happen. I don't think it happens very often where they end up. I'm gonna actually stop this. I don't think it actually happens very often where they ever. What's the word? I'm like, don't get any money at all. Like that was obviously extreme for the movie where they're like, oh, whatever clause, you're not even going to get any money.
Oh, I didn't even recognize that. They didn't even get any money. I thought they got paid.
No. So it wasn't until the very end with the friend that's a lawyer. The black guy, he's the lawyer. He was able to actually go back and get money. But when they were fired, he goes, haha, whatever, we still get paid. He goes, actually, you don't because of you broke the ethics clause. And so because of that, you don't get anything. All your shares go back into the fucking company.
That's right, because they had to show them all down and out.
They were all down and out.
Which is what I think would have been funnier for this movie, by the way. Without getting into all well, we're going to get into the details in a minute, but I just think it would have been funnier if they were ham and eggers, like just regular Joe guys. They didn't all have to be owning this fucking company and there's millions at stake and all this shit. Because a lot of the stuff that happened, that really could happen to anyone. And it would have been funnier if it was more relatable. It's his
what I
movie,
think the thing that made it maybe so unrelatable is maybe that it is California, because I think that is kind of run-of-the-mill California life. You know what I mean?
Everyone's got a company and they get taken by millennials. And,
No, but it is a bunch of rich people in that world, in that life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah, like in the neighborhoods that they lived in, probably, right? Everyone would relate to that. It's just it's like the upper crust of the
Of LA.
the top of the 1% in LA.
Right, which I think, I feel like that is kind of just LA. It's like a very LA culture movie, and obviously they're showing how the millennial world is kind of ruining shit.
Yeah,
with their
that was the main gist of the movie.
That was their millennial thing. But dude, it's like
is that things were better back then, right? They literally sold their company. Just to give you the whole plot in a nutshell, their company was selling throwback jerseys. Like 20 years ago was better, 30 years ago was better. They get a CEO to help them manage things to up to times. They get put in the back seat kind of early on. They go on this road trip, and there's like cameras in the rental car that listens to all their old offensive shit that they're just saying to each other.
Yeah, they're just talking amongst
which is
themselves.
sort of stupid. There's no way that could happen. But I mean, whatever. I get it. That's a frame device used in the movie. And so then they come back and they get completely thrown out of their company. And the other subplot is that Bill Burr is always getting mad. He's yelling at people. He's yelling at this lady that they're trying to get their kid into this exclusive school. And
which is, again, it's the same arc of all Bill Burr stuff. Is like, I'm too angry. I'm trying not to be angry.
Not to be angry right now.
I'm not. Yeah. Dude.
I'm not trying to yell at you.
Dude, yeah. It's constant. It's like the same thing, but I mean, it's him. It's who he is. It's like it's what he's. And what's funny is when people are calling him an asshole or calling him angry. I'm like, I don't think he's that angry. You know?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. He's not like attacking people.
No,
and
he's
shit,
not attacking people.
He does a good anger thing on stage anyway.
Yeah.
But so that's the whole gist of the movie.
Yes.
And then they have to come back and get their company by being old guys and outsmarting these stupid millennials. And it's like, there is a lot of stuff going on right now that someone my age is not happy with, because we had like a certain line and we were willing to adjust and adapt and go a little over it. And now it's just the next time is coming on. It's not better or worse. It's just the next time. We think it's stupid because shit should have been still being done the way that we always did it.
Right. And I think they're showing like the full on, like the antithesis of this millennial thing with like the sensitivity thing and like, oh, you can't say that and you have to respect my blank and this. And even if you get a swath of millennials, I mean, 100% of them aren't like that.
No,
it's really just like a small portion.
But
100%
of them will be like feeling out the other 100%. Like, is it cool? Can I go further? He's also trans. Can we? Thank you. Well, hold on. I wasn't going to say it, but also he looks like he was triggered or whatever. Like all that shit that they're making fun of in the movie. There is too much shit put on that right now.
Of course.
Everything has to go beyond. You want to get to this line. You can't just land right on this line. You got to push past it, and then it kind of recedes back to a normal level. And we're in that push past. I don't think there's a lot of people that couldn't sit. Anybody age group couldn't sit and point out a bunch of stuff where it's like that's foolish.
That's foolish. There. Yeah, it is foolish. But the people that are kind of all locked in it and can't see it for what it is and see that it is kind of foolish. That's like, it's weird.
And some people are in it because they're the people that are trying to like further the cause. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm an old guy. I watched it and I related to it. I wish it was funnier. I really wanted to laugh and get into it. I'm just trying to think, like, where was the funny, There
was a couple parts that had me laughing. Did you have any? I really liked the old guy that they met at the very end that was, like, essentially just him even further in the future. And he's, like, the guy that picks him up and brings him to the hospital from the strip club.
Yeah.
And he's like, look at these. They never stop at a stop sign. They. And he's like looking at him. He's like, oh shit, like this is me. Like I'm just an old crotchety guy,
right,
driving around. But it's like I also have like a soft spot in my heart for the old crotchety guy. I really like an old crotchety guy. I run into him all the time at work, and like the other employees are like, I don't want to deal with that guy. He's an asshole.
He's a boomer. He's an old boomer.
He's an old boomer.
Everyone over 40 is a boomer.
Well, they're all boomers, but like they're also like they're like like fuck you. Like they get like angry for no reason and stuff. And like the other employees like I don't like that guy. I'm like, if you push back just a little bit on that guy, he's cool as shit. It's like as soon as you start talking and he's like, what are you doing? I told you not to spray chemical in my fucking windows. And I'm like, I don't know.
How about I come over there and fucking smack you,
how about
man?
I come on, smack your face, you old man, and then you say something like that, and they're like, you're all right, kid.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like they're just trying to test in your fucking gumption.
I thought you were gonna go the other way. If you join in, they're like, this fucking kid next door, this fucking, you're like, no shit, right? They're all fucking idiots. It's like, yeah, you get me, and then you're
no,
cool
you
too.
push back on them, and you're like, what are you?
I like
doing
that
here?
you're pushing back on.
Oh, you got to
That's
push
funny.
back on those old crotchety guys. They love it. It's like that's all they're looking for is just somebody to fucking bust balls with and have a good time. But so I got a sauce. I like. There was a few parts that were funny, and then it was a lot more of like, when he's in these positions with that school teacher or like the principal,
his wife, or the
and his
school
wife,
teacher,
and the
any of
things
them.
he says, it's more of like a and it is a little less funny and more of like a you're right. You know what I mean? It's less of a joke and more of like a you should be saying that. You know,
I feel like yes, I agree with you.
Yeah,
but during those parts, because it's all kind of like his monologues when he's talking to his wife. Honey, what are you pissed about? You that's when he's gonna crack you up because when he's on stage, he'll do that same thing and it's fucking great. There's no constriction, but in the movie he's constricted constantly because he has to keep it with the plot. He has to say this to the woman to go there, so he can only he's constricted.
Yeah,
like the speech that he gives at the which I thought had the potential. I was like, oh, here, this is going to fucking crack me up. When he gives the speech at the fundraiser that he threw because he's on the outs with the lady and he's got to raise some money for the school.
Yeah.
He's right there, he's doing everything, and then he gets pissed off and he's, fuck this shit. He goes up on the stage. He kind of goes there. Then off stage, the lady's like, oh, so now you're going to kiss my ass. He goes, no, fuck you, fuck it didn't do it for me. I wanted it to, and I'm a huge Bill Burr guy, so I don't know. Maybe other
I get
people
it.
like
I get exactly what you're saying.
I might be too much of a Bill Burr fan. Maybe that's what fucked it up for me.
Could be. It could be. But I agree. What about the part where he's at the hotel and he comes out and he's got the cigar and then the guy with the vape and he goes, "Hey man, you can't do that." And he's like, He's like, "What are you fucking doing?" And I'm sorry, but if you got smoke coming out of your head, what do you think you're fucking doing? Yeah. And then the girl across the way is like. He's like, what do you call vaping? He's like, is it smoking? She was like, yeah, and it's ruining our country. He goes, yeah, see? And then she goes, yeah, and a little too many people coming over the border, huh?
She's
and he's like, all right.
And then you kind of get a closer look at that chick, and you're like, yeah, he definitely wouldn't have reached out to her if he fucking got a better look at what the hell that chick was.
But it was like this thing.
She had a little plot. They could have done more with her, but she
could have. But and I like that idea of where he's like, yeah, I have some ideas. Of like, yeah, this is ruining our country, but I'm not the immigration guy. You know, it's like, yeah, vaping. I'm the old school. If you're gonna smoke a cigar. This vaping shit's stupid.
Nice save, 2023.
Yeah, everybody know what I said. Or like these, but I'm not like the crazy immigration dude,
It's just funny when you start spouting out. You're like, listen, it should just be duh, right? And then someone goes, yeah,
and
this and this, and you're like,
like,
now that's
whoa.
just nonsense. It just points out how ridiculous and arbitrary your shit is.
It's all pretty crazy. It's all ridiculous. It's all arbitrary. I don't know. I definitely enjoyed it. I didn't stop it halfway through. Watch the whole thing. It was entertaining.
Is that a good thing, or what does that say?
It's a good thing. I mean, it was more of like a kind of like a feel good thing. I kind of liked. I thought it was a little much, his wife kicking him out, and all that stuff. That was really sad. That was depressing. That made me sad. That his wife wasn't like really kind of on his side. It's like, I get that he shouldn't be so angry, but like, the people that he's getting angry with are like, they're so absurd. Like, sorry, sir, you weren't here. You're 2 minutes late. And he goes, okay. And he's like, how much is it? So it's $1 a minute. Okay, here's, yeah, you don't have to pay that. The first time's free. You would have known. It's like, that level of absurdity is like, you want me to snap, don't you? You realize, how do you not?
Sometimes that does happen though. When you can tell someone's so adamantly against what your fucking aura or vibe is, you're like, oh, this vibe, I'm the one that's in an authoritative position. Sir, you're late. Fuck you.
Sorry, it's gonna be $2. No, first time's free. You would have known that after I read the brochure. Exactly. And you're like, you should have said something before I put my fucking kid down. Like, and you know what I mean? Like, Oh, you couldn't have said something before I put my kid down? It's just like when those people are like almost actively pushing your buttons and then like you kind of snap and then like your wife or whoever isn't kind of like in your corner to be like, maybe you shouldn't have yelled, but yeah, this fucking insane. That's a little more off-putting to me. That's like clearly anybody can see that's absurd. Anybody in that position would get a bit upset. Maybe you don't have to fly that far off the handle, but to not
so that part I relate to really well. The wife part that you're talking about,
of course, where it's like the wife is
because you have these things at home where the wife's already like, you're just being such a prick.
Yeah,
I noticed it at the soccer game, then again at the fucking thing, then at the Arby's. You were very aggressive. All right, just you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Now we go to a thing that she cares about, and she's like, you better not be a fucking asshole. And this lady starts kind of goading you, or you just go off or whatever. Now you're getting like the full bet, like, what the fuck? We just talked about this. I don't care what you do in the parking lot of the fucking grocery store to some guy with a car. But now it's a thing that's here. They do get more pissed.
You're right.
Which makes sense because now they get skin in the game and you're fucking it up.
Exactly.
And all
with
I
the
want for you
kid.
is to not be a fucking asshole just here. You can be a fucking asshole everywhere else.
Right.
Not here, and you're still being an asshole.
He is still being an asshole. And it's like, but and then you got... It builds up, and it's not just a single incident. It's like multiple incidents all kind of piled up on top of each other, and then you're in the position where it's like, all right, well now our kid is waiting on a recommendation on this lady. It's like it's like, dude, we're talking about like elementary school, okay? Right. We're not talking about college.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
can you imagine being you're gonna have a kid? You have a kid,
no, I
but
couldn't.
You're gonna have another.
I couldn't
imagine all this.
That's where I would already step away and be like, dude, it's fucking elementary school. Like, are you insane? Are you a crazy person?
But if you're like these 1% people, if you don't get into this school, you're not getting into that school. If
exactly.
you're not in that school, you don't get.
And that fucking matters. What already I'm like, dude, I just don't see. That's so far removed from myself. You're absolutely right. It is so outside of
when I'm like, I can't wait to see a movie where Bill Burr is going to be a crotchety old prick telling it like it is. And then I'm like, okay, this is a movie where his company was taken by millennials in a weird way. And the main subplot really is that he can't get his kid into the super roof.
Elementary school. It'd be better if his kid was going to college. I could relate more to his kid going to college.
There could be so many things they could have done, and I'm just nitpicking because, like I said,
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you.
He didn't care so much about the landscape. He wanted to do his stuff, but it is very hard to do when he's on the stage and it's just him. He can go anywhere in a second and paint a different picture. In a movie, you're constricted, and I think it was one of his first movies, if not his first. So maybe I would like to see Bill Burr do more of these movies. I didn't say like, oh, I don't ever want to see it again. I didn't love it. I didn't think it was that funny. I love him. I also wanted to say Bobby Cannavale. I told you another guy that's on my Mount Rushmore of comedy is Louis C.K.
Yeah.
Remember Louis' show, Louis? You ever watch that?
I never watched it, but I was
my God,
obviously.
It's such a great show. It's one of those shows you can watch it right now. It's from like
early 2000s.
Early 2000s, right? And it had like a 5-season run. He had a couple different arcs, and then he was just done with it. The first time I was introduced to that show, I didn't even know he had a show. I saw a video where Bobby Cannavale plays a director. Louis comes in. The whole premise of this video is that Bobby Cannavale is a porn director. Louis feels like he's down on his luck. The director goes, Bobby Cannavale, I get what you're here for. You want to make a sex tape. He goes into this awesome, super nasty thing. Louis C.K. is like, I got to do what? He goes, is this dick here? Dick here, he's going to smack you in the face with. He's like, what? Then he goes, next scene. He goes, next scene. He goes, what porno you ever saw with one scene? He's like, oh my God. He's like, by the end of it, you're laughing so fucking hard. And his phone rings, and he goes, hello? Oh my fucking God. Thank you very much. He goes, I'm sorry. I don't need this anymore. I just got something. I got to go. And he goes, okay. He leaves. He goes, he'll be back. And then Louis goes outside the building. He jumps up in the air, and he does the Mary Tyler Moore kick his heels, and it frees him. And it goes, Louis, new show coming out in FX this fall. And I was like, God damn it. That was the best way I could. That's how I learned he had the show. That's the best commercial I ever saw for fucking any show ever. Bobby Cannavale was the porn director.
Was the porn director?
Yeah. So
you've told me about that before on
probably on
you have.
Road Soda Studios property somewhere.
That's somewhere you have told me about that promo
if you haven't
for
seen
Louis.
It, dude, I didn't ruin it for you because the best part is just Louis getting attacked by this shit and Bobby Cannavale just very like, whatever, man, you're going to do this. This is one of these. It's a slap and sniff. What's that? He goes, it's when he smacks you in the face with his cock and you sniff it. And he's like, oh, my God, I don't want to do any of this. But anyway, I have always had a soft spot for Bobby Cannavale. He also has a very funny role. You might not have seen this with Marky Mark and Will Ferrell. It's called Daddy's Home.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I've actually seen it. I definitely am aware of the movie. Maybe I've seen it.
That's a funny movie where Marky Mark's the dad. He's gone. Will Ferrell comes in. He's the dutiful stepfather, like a really good guy.
Yes, I think I've seen like the second one. It's like the Christmas movie because it's now on my list.
There's a second one with like,
it's it's essentially like a Christmas movie.
Yeah, it fucking sucks so hard because they brought in like famous dads and all this shit.
Right.
The first one was just funny because it came out of nowhere. Bobby Cannavale plays they have like fertility problems, so they go to the fertility doctor. And Will Ferrell's having problems. He can't do it. And he goes, hey, man, listen. He goes, hey, Marky Mark, come in here for a minute. He goes, this guy is a fucking champ. And he's doing all this shit. He's like, check these balls out. And he's like doing all this shit. It is very funny. That's his only scene. He's the fertility doctor.
He's the fertility doctor.
He kills it. And I don't know. He was in a movie that was kind of big last year or the year before. It was a streaming thing. I don't know if it was a Netflix. But it was big. And I was like, oh, good for him. He's climbing the ranks. So I don't know.
he's and this movie. I mean, this is obviously a big Netflix movie. When we chose it, it was like the top 1 or 2 on the Netflix films.
It's still pretty high up the list.
Still pretty
right now.
high up there.
Even now in June of 2024, it's high up there. It's the 8th. I don't know that other guy though. The guy Bokeem Woodbine. Have you ever seen him?
I've never seen him before or after.
So that was a little weird to me too.
And he looks like a bloated Dave Chappelle.
He looks like a bloated. He's making a movie about like this inclusion thing, and then I just felt like, man, this guy is like so token. If Bill Burr, okay, let's face it, if Bill Burr had his druthers, who were his 2 guys going to be? Bokeem Woodbine wasn't going to be one of them, dude.
Why not? We don't know who I mean, he's got a black wife. We don't. I think maybe he's.
I'm not saying it's like he doesn't have any black friends or whatever, but I don't know who this guy is. You know what I mean? He would have went with like, boom, boom. He would have picked like big comic stars. I don't know this guy. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I don't know. I've never heard of. Yeah, I've never heard.
It just felt like
Bokeem.
They were like, we're gonna put Bobby in, but then we can't have all white male guys even in the thing. It's like, oh my god, here it is in my own movie. Even they're like, we have Bokeem Woodbine. He's half Muslim. He also has or whatever. You know what I mean? Maybe he touches a couple of boxes. I don't know because I just have never seen him in anything. Maybe he's been in a bunch of stuff.
Wu-Tang and American Saga, Earth Mama, The Inspection, Halo. He's in the TV series Halo, which I know.
Have you seen that?
I haven't. I heard it was pretty good though. Ghostbusters. Fargo.
Well, now I've heard that someone heard it was pretty good, but I never heard of it.
Fargo, The Shadow, Overlord, Billionaire Boys Club, Snowfall.
I do know that I've seen the guy. I'm not saying I've never seen.
I ain't
never
seen that motherfucker.
He's in the cinematic landscape at some way, but he's he's like signage or something. He doesn't. I don't know. That just was another thing for me. I'm like, who's this guy? Bobby Cannavale, I have a rich personal history with. Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr, I know. Like these are known properties for me.
Right.
And this guy, I'm like, it just doesn't fill out
for me. Because Bobby Cannavale, I have never really seen him anywhere before. Never really. I mean, it was Bill Burr for me, and then everybody else, I'd never even. I mean, except for Natasha Leggera's on there. She's like one of the moms at the fucking school, and then the girl that was across the courtyard at the motel. It's a motel. He's like, a serial killer can come right up to my door. If this is a hotel, he'd have to go through a lobby.
He has to go through a lobby.
Yeah.
That's a good line. That was
good.
a good line.
But he goes, come on, buddy, it's a motel. And that girl directly across it is a comedian that was on your mom's house maybe like 4 or 5 weeks ago. But other than that, and it's just like, and then Rick Glassman. That's the guy's.
Good pull.
That is that guy's name. Okay. Is at the beginning, and he's the. I don't think you should. You think you should put Neosporin on it. That guy.
Yeah.
Rick Glassman.
The guy that played Big Head from Silicon Valley. He was one of the guys. He was the guy like, I don't think this should be run by 2 white males, and he's like,
yeah. Isn't he white?
Isn't he white? Yeah.
Isn't this a white guy?
He was funny in that. And then the guy that played I believe he dressed up like a woman. It was like a crazy thing at the end. He plays like it's not even a named character, but it was like just part of the whole. I think he's just trying to say like, I don't like 2023. I like 1973.
Right.
The guy who dressed up like the chick at the end was the comedian who played Richard Jewell. There was a movie called Richard Jewell.
No, I never heard of it.
He's the guy that was working for security in Atlanta during the Olympic Games when there was a bomb. Mm-hmm. And they were like, we don't know who did it. It's probably this fucking guy. He looks sketchy as fuck. And then they smeared him. You remember that?
No, I'm familiar with the helicopter that blew up or whatever with all the Israelis in it.
No, this is like in the 90s.
I thought, so the bomb was in the 80s or something?
Well, what you're talking about was like in the 70s.
Oh, shit.
When there was like Israeli hostages in the Olympics. This was in the Atlanta Games. I can't remember. I think a bomb did go off. Mm-hmm. Or there was at least a threat of a bomb. And they wanted to find out who did it, and they picked this guy, Richard Jewell. He was just like a security guy. And then his life was ruined. Then later they were like, oh, yeah, I guess it wasn't him. He didn't have anything to do with it. He was just a decent security guard. Too late. Like, he's like the worst guy in the world. He bombed the Olympics. No one, you know what I'm saying? You don't get redos. You can't take that back.
No. Once you're smeared like that, you're smeared, buddy.
And the guy that played him, it's a tough role to watch. You just like, he's going to be that guy. And he had his little role at the end. You know, he's a comedian too, so it's kind of funny that he's
that's the thing. This is all things comedy, so it's all these people are comedians. They just got their little walk-on roles. They get a little bit of a paycheck.
He's building his Marvel universe of his comic.
He's building his Happy Gilmore, Happy Madison Productions, which is all those same group of actors constantly getting a paycheck anytime they crank up another fucking movie.
Has All Things Comedy done many movies before? I know they're big with podcasts.
I don't think they've produced I know they produce a bunch of shows. I think this might be their first movie. I'm not sure, but it's like a big deal. It's like a big studio, almost as big as Road Soda Studios. Honestly.
Well, it'll get there.
It'll get there if they keep playing their cards right, doing what they should, keep their nose to the grindstone.
Keep your nose to the grindstone, Burr. You can catch up.
You can catch up to Road Soda Studios. So, what are you ranking it?
I guess just because of the Bill Burr factor, I'll rank it. Watch it if it's there.
Watch it if it's there. That's right. Road Soda ranks it.
How about you? How are you going to
watch it if it's there?
Okay.
It's definitely. I don't think it's a must watch. I enjoyed it. It wasn't a misery to watch. I'm not going to run off and tell people, hey, have you seen Old Dads yet?
If someone, what I do think of just in this conversation, actually, if someone's not familiar with Bill Burr, they might laugh their ass off because. If you are not aware of his whole routine, his whole way of...
his whole shtick.
Then you might be like, this guy is worth checking out because he's pretty hardcore.
It is, but it's well done. It's good. It's fun. And so definitely watch it if it's there. If you're at some lady's house and you want to put
watch it with a lady.
Watch it with a lady. Watch if it's there. So...
Are we going to assume her gender? Is that what you're doing that right off? Like we're back in 1973?
Yeah.
You with a lady?
Yep, you're with a lady. Guys are with gals. You understand?
Wasn't Adam
Do
and
you
Steve,
understand? That's right. Okay, so next week is your homework. Be sure to watch the Netflix documentary. His love of film began as an escape from a rocky childhood. From underdog to Hollywood legend, Sylvester Stallone tells his story in this documentary.
Sylvester Stallone. You know who was in it? Who
Sly.
Just a little teaser.
As
if you're a Norm
I don't know.
Macdonald
I've never
fan,
seen it. Who was in it?
If you're a advanced screener.
And I'm gonna wear the same shit next week. You better believe it.
I'm gonna have to take this off. If you ever watch Norm Macdonald, one of the best non sequiturs he do, he's what was the cause of all the economic turmoil? And they'd put a guy on the screen. Who was the guy that he always picked? He always ragged on the same dude.
I don't know who.
Frank Stallone.
Oh, really?
Really? That's Sylvester Stallone's brother.
That is Sylvester Stallone's brother.
They wrote stuff together, and then he just disappeared.
He just disappeared. He just has a different trajectory. All right, folks. So check out the documentary Sly, and we will catch you next week.